TeAma Copeland is your independent paparazzi agent. Join her live online Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join her on Facebook at TeAma Sweetness Copeland or her fan page, Just in Time Accessories, or you can find her on YouTube at TeaMa Herice. That once again is Just in Time Accessories. Everything is only $5, nickel and lead-free jewelry. TeAma Copeland, independent paparazzi agent. Just in Time Accessories definitely have the bling and everything in between. Check her out. The Chill Zone. WTCZ Music Box Radio. Every Monday and Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, with your host, Apostle D. You can find it every Monday and every Wednesday at youtube.com/DmanABC3. Call in and request your favorite songs. Let's have some fun. The call-in number is 682-200-9345. The Chill Zone, WTCZ, Music Box Radio, every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, with your host, Apostle D. Check it out.
Get in here, get in here, get in here. We have a wonderful show for you guys tonight. Get in here, get in here. I tell you. We are joined tonight with a special guest, Mr. Pastor David Wiggins. Mr. Wiggins is going to be joining us tonight, and happy to have him here. It was a very last minute, but yet he showed up. And he's going to answer some of our questions tonight that we're going to be having on tonight's topic. And as you all know, tonight's topic is are the church funds for the people or for the pastor? So I'm yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A.T.L. I cannot.
This is the Anthony Brown Show, and I'm yours truly, Anthony. I'm joined with my beautiful and lovely co-host, Miss TeAma Copeland.
Hello, everybody.
And my co-host, Mr. Legacy the Great. And we also have a special guest co-host tonight, Miss T Savage herself is in the house. And her lip gloss is popping.
Baby.
Ow! Don't get me started.
Okay. Just to give you some friendly reminders, guys, make sure you mark your calendars on March the 12th. We're going to be joined by Kevin Wesley, a former pastor who walked away from Christianity. He's going to be here to tell his story and answer any questions. Also, Sam Selah. He walked away from LGBT and porn, and he found Christ. So they both will be here to tell their story. So make sure you mark your calendars. Also, we have another book show for March 23rd. We have TJ and Chris James. Chris James is a YouTuber, A Healthy Alternative. And TJ, they both have, between the two of them, have lost about 400 pounds. And they're going to be here on the 23rd to share with you their stories on how to get your body back to an acidic state and get healthy, and also get rid your body of certain diseases and ailments naturally. So make sure you guys mark your calendars for those two dates.
You know him.
So Pastor Wiggins was having technical difficulties. I told him to leave out and come back in.
Okay.
Because everything was frozen on his end. So he should be coming right back in.
Okay, no problem.
And the group we in on the alternative living. Remember when we did the fasting? That's him.
Yes, Yes, the 15 pounds that melted away. Yes, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 33 total. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I did 45 days straight fasting.
Okay.
You're not supposed to tell nobody. You're not supposed to tell nobody.
No, it's not that type of fasting like I'm trying to find.
Right. When people hear fasting, they think it's just spiritual
Yeah.
fasting. But no, it was just no food. And I thought I was going to die day 3. I quit day 3. But I did lose 15 pounds off them 3 days.
And you
So,
went back at it.
I did go back at it. I did. It's hard though, because I like food. It's good.
Also, just want to remind everybody that the month of March is National Women's History Month, and the color that they commemorate is purple. So that's why everything is in purple tonight. The month of March, National Women's History Month.
Oh.
So TeAma, since Legacy did February for Black History Month every day, and he did a wonderful, awesome job. TeAma, along with the assistance of T Savage, they've taken on the month of March, which is National Women's History Month, and so they're going to highlight.
So she done really got somebody to help her.
What happened?
So you went and got somebody to help you?
Yes.
Kamala Harris.
Before we got off last week, remember she said who she wanted to go on.
The first Black woman vice president.
So we're going to highlight Kamala Harris. So put on your seatbelt and here, and let me show you this here real quick. I don't know if I showed it before I show that. There you go. National Women's History Month, presented by TeAma Sweetness and T Savage. So
that's ridiculous.
You sound like a whole hater.
Kamala Harris. His full name is Kamala Devi Harris.
To guard it and never take it for granted. And protecting our democracy takes struggle, it takes sacrifice, but there is joy in it, and there is progress, because we, the people, have the power to build a better future. To our campaign staff and volunteers, this extraordinary team, thank you for bringing more people than ever before into the democratic process.
He was a famous first woman 49th Vice President of the United States. He was born on October 20th, 1964, in Oakland, California, United States. His father's name was Donald Harris, and mother's name was TeAma Copeland. Kamala Devi Harris is an American politician and attorney who is the 49th and current Vice President of the United States. She is the United States' first female vice president, the highest-ranking female elected official in the nation's history, and the first African American and first Asian American vice president. A member of the Democratic Party, she will assume the office on January 20, 2021. Her inauguration, alongside 46th United States President Joe Biden, follows the chaotic 4-year governance of Donald Trump, who left the nation's capital hours before the ceremony on January 20, 2021. The vice presidency of Ms. Harris, a former prosecutor, district attorney, state attorney general and United States senator, and the daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants, marks a critical milestone for political representation at an equally turbulent moment in American history. Kamala Harris' mother, a Tamil Indian named TeAma Copeland Herice, worked as a breast cancer scientist. Her father, a Jamaican named Donald Harris, serves as a Stanford University economics professor. Kamala Harris was very close to her maternal grandfather, an Indian diplomat named P.V. Gopalan. She and her younger sister Maya went to both a Hindu temple and a Black Baptist church while growing up. When Kamala Harris was 7, her parents separated and her mother was given the custody of both the children. Subsequently, the sisters and their mother moved to Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Kamala Harris studied at Westmount High School in Quebec and later attended Howard University in the United States, where she majored in political science and economics. In 1989, she returned to California and earned her Juris Doctor, JD, from University of California, Hastings College of the Law. The following year, she was admitted to the State Bar of California. From 1990 to 1998, Kamala Harris served as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County, California, prosecuting cases of robbery, murder, and child rape. In the late 1990s, she worked at the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. In 2000, Harris was recruited by Louise Wren, San Francisco's elected city attorney, for the position of head of the Community and Neighborhood Division. In 2003, Harris defeated Terrence Hallinan to become the San Francisco District Attorney. She is the first South Asian and Black woman to achieve the position. She was again re-elected in November 2007. As the DA, she began a program that offers first-time drug dealers the opportunity to earn high school diploma and find jobs. In 2009, Kamala Harris got her book Smart on Crime, A Career Prosecutor's Plan to Make Us Safer published. In the book, she attempted to analyze criminal justice from an economic perspective. She worked for the California District Attorneys Association, as well as the National District Attorneys Association in different capacities in the 2010s. In 2010, she campaigned in the California Attorney General election, where she faced Los Angeles County District Attorney Steve Cooley. She emerged victorious, and on January 3, 2011, she became the first Jamaican-American woman and the first Indian-American Attorney General in California. In November 2014, she was re-elected against Ronald Gold. In the United States Senate election in California in 2016, Kamala Harris defeated Loretta Sanchez, winning 62% of the vote. On January 3, 2017, she was sworn in as the United States Senator from California. Kamala Harris was one of the top contenders for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president. She ran a spirited campaign, but later on opted out of race due to lack of funds and endorsed Joe Biden's candidature for president. On August 11, 2020, Joe Biden announced Kamala Harris as his running mate for the 2020 United States presidential election. With this, she became the first Black woman to be a major party vice presidential nominee. Joe Biden won the presidential election, and consequently, Kamala Harris became the Vice President-elect of the United States. She will assume the office on January 20, 2021, alongside President-elect Joe Biden.
People on Earth.
And it's an idea as alive and powerful today as it was when it was first proposed.
The most powerful idea in the history of the world, I think, beats in the heart of the people of this country. No matter your race, your ethnicity, no matter your gender identity, your sexual orientation, no matter your faith, it unites America. Whether your ancestors were native to these shores, whether they were brought here forcibly and enslaved, whether they're immigrants from generations back, or those coming today looking to build a better life for their family.
Our best days are not behind us. They're ahead.
In times as challenging as these, I believe there's only one way forward. As a united America, united in our dream of a better future for us and for our children. This is our moment. This is our mission.
As the San Francisco District Attorney's Office, Kamala Harris developed a special hate crimes unit that focused on crimes against LGBT kids and teens. She supported same-sex marriage in California and opposed both the Proposition 8 and Proposition 22, which aimed to prevent same-sex unions. She introduced the California Homeowners Bill of Rights that grants homeowners more choices while fighting to keep their home. This bill banned dual tracking and robo-signing, and also gave the California Attorney General more power to investigate financial frauds and set up special grand juries to impeach multi-county crimes. In 2012, Kamala Harris sent a letter to about 100 mobile app creators, asking them to comply with the California law in terms of privacy rights. She also warned them that if any developer's app does not exhibit a privacy policy statement during the installation, a possible fine of $2,500 might be charged for every download. On February 12, 2015, she announced that she would launch a new agency called Bureau of Children's Justice. The Bureau was created later the same year. It focuses on issues like the juvenile justice system, foster care, childhood trauma, and school truancy. The National Urban League hailed Harris as a woman of power in 2004. She was honored with the third Good Marshal Award from the National Black Prosecutors Association in 2005. Kamala Harris has been married to Douglas M. Hoff, a California attorney, since August 22, 2014. Through the marriage, she became the stepmother of 2 children. Her sister, Maya Harris, is an MSNBC political analyst. Her brother-in-law is Tony West, a former senior official at United States Justice Department and currently the general counsel of Uber. Kamala Harris said, "If you are fortunate to have opportunity, it is your duty to make sure other people have those opportunities as well."
All right, Kamala Harris.
You
Pastor
muted,
Wiggins.
Tony.
Yeah.
Pastor Wiggins, did you meet Vice President Kamala Harris when she was a senator?
Yes.
How was she?
Very down to earth, very approachable.
Okay.
The only other person that I would probably, and I hate to try to compare, but the only other person that was more down to earth, if I could use that phrase, was then President Barack Obama.
Mm.
Wow.
That's what's up.
I know that's right. Okay. So we're going to get right into tonight's topic. And again, the topic is, are the church funds for the people or for the pastor? And what brought this up, interesting enough, Bishop Wayne T. Jackson, pictured right here in front of his congregation. There was recent an incident that took place in his church, and I have a video clip from it. And right after the video, I'm going to have Pastor David Wiggins comment on the video, give his comments, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. Personal or spiritual, but he's going to comment on the video. And then Legacy has some information that he wants to share with you. And then we're just going to have overall discussion. And if you guys that's viewing from Facebook or from YouTube want to comment, definitely put your comments below. And we can see your comments and they'll show up on the screen and we will answer your comments as well. So let's get right into the video.
Church accountability, taking congregations to task for not serving the community in their estimation as those churches should. They say something doesn't add up when a pastor makes a lot of money, drives a luxury car, and yet the people who live near his church are in poverty. A scuffle inside the sanctuary after New Era Detroit protests during a worship service.
Bro, let me go, man. Let's go.
Zeke, the leader of the group, offered no apologies for the dust-up at Great Faith Ministry Saturday, only the reasoning behind it.
This situation is bigger than just Wayne T. Jackson. This is about black churches and black pastors who live a lavish life on behalf of the people, and they're not giving back to their community.
He's referring to Bishop Wayne T. Jackson, the wealthy pastor that welcomed Donald Trump, drives a Rolls Royce, and lives in a mansion. Zeke was there for the offering Saturday.
When they started the offering at $1,000, and then they said if you don't got $1,000, then do $300. And if you don't got cash, then we got ATM machines. I don't understand that logic. I don't understand that way of thinking, and I don't understand that to be what religion is.
New Era Detroit says the neighborhood surrounding Great Faith Ministries is by and large impoverished.
This guy has networks, churches, fancy cars, you know what I mean, $1 million houses, and there's babies in this community that's going without food at night. Somebody has to be frustrated about this enough to do something that will get people's attention. And not
okay, so the video doesn't show in its entirety, but that's the whole synopsis of the video. So we want to hear from Pastor David Wiggins.
I'll say this, and I'm not going to single out the person in the clip, but I think what it speaks to is the lack of accountability in churches across the board. I think that stems from people having been taught that the pastor is the absolute authority in the church. I categorically disagree with that. Here is why. There's that saying that goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, as spiritual as we would like to believe our spiritual leaders are, history has taught us a thing or two, and we always say hindsight is 20/20, and we should learn from mistakes of the past. That's not just something that ought to be limited to a historical perspective, in that we exclude religious services and religious functions from that. We've seen the detriment of, and we even see it now, we see the detriment of pastors doing what they want to do, be it with the money, be it living any kind of way. So we see that, we all understand that that's something that occurs. And to answer your question, I believe that the answer can be both. I say that because I'm a firm believer that if anyone gets into ministry for money, you ought to hurry up and sit down and shut up. That's my personal opinion. For the simple fact that now your motive is not saving souls. Your motive is not helping people to come into the understanding of who Christ is. Your motive is money. Now, if we're gonna be right, I always tell people, if we who are in the church, the body of believers, we don't have the onus to be Baptist right, Pentecostal right, Apostolic right, AME right. We have to be Bible right. So what does the Bible say? Paul said in Acts chapter 20, he said, listen, and I'm paraphrasing for anybody that want to go start in Acts chapter 20 and read it till you feel better. Acts chapter 20, Paul said, listen, I came to y'all and I worked with my hands for not only me, but the people that came with me, so that I wouldn't be a burden, we wouldn't be a burden on you. Now that's Bible. That's black and white. We're not dealing with stuff that's, out there in space somewhere. This is practical. And I think because we've allowed things to go unchecked for so long, my question becomes, where are the real church folk at? Because if we following the book, see, the book the book will correct pastors, deacons, anybody that needs to be corrected. The book will correct it, but the problem becomes, are we just reading our words when we have the virtual fellowship hour? And are we just believing what the man or the woman of God is saying?
That's what it is.
So the question becomes, have we duped ourselves? We got the manual. I'm working on the sermon right now called Follow the Directions. Part of the problem that we find in churches in America, be it black or white, because they got their issues too. We got so far away from the directions, it's not funny. And you have these men and women who are emboldened to become pulpit pimps. I ain't talking about nobody. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about.
You talking about somebody?
Because people don't have enough. I don't know what it is. I've always, if I'm the kind of person, I don't care. If I see something wrong, I'm going to speak up. You are not going to take my voice from me. Listen, Jesus said, I came to the poor folks. Jesus, listen, the Bible said he came riding on an ass. Matthew, Mark, Luke recorded that. And so the question becomes, how have we gotten so far away from the master, the bishop and the captain of the souls? He walked in a level of humility. And now it seems like we just, we got, oh, Jesus, help me, Lord. We got folks that are just like arrogant, just like arrogant on steroids. And how do we now hone that in? But I'm gonna mind. Listen, it behooves us to humble ourselves.
Yes.
See, if we don't, God know how to take our big head and bring it right back on down the sides. And that's what we have. People who have, and God is so gracious and merciful. He don't get us like he got the folk in the Old Testament. You did something wrong, boom, you got hit with leprosy. Boom, you fell down and died. And God is so gracious that he's given us, especially pastors, the opportunity to get it right. Now, I'm from the old school now. I ain't gonna play with God. There's a whole lot of stuff I can play with, whole lot of stuff. But because I have that fear and that reverence and that honor for him, I'm not going to play him for cheap. So I don't know if I answered your question. I probably got off, but
you did. I mean, I felt this. I feel like I want to pass a collection plate.
Okay.
But you preached tonight. But what made me came up with this topic here, it says here, Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. The wealth of the sinner is set up for the just. And based on this Bible or biblical verse, who is the just? Is it the church or the pastor?
I'll tell you this, all of the human minds together, you can get Albert Einstein, you can get all of the leading intellects of yesterday. We as humans do not have the spiritual insight to determine who is just. Now, we know how folk lived, but listen, a tree is known by the fruit it bears, not the bark that it wears. So you are, if you are just, there ought to be some signs.
Hello.
If you follow a Christ, there ought to be some signs. I think when it speaks about an inheritance, we get caught up thinking it's about money. I think that the church has to do a better job of, when we talk about an inheritance, what does the future for the church that you are currently pastoring, what does the future look like for that church? I'm going to tell you a sad reality. Some folks cannot answer that question. One thing that we all have to be prepared to do is to wake up in glory. One day we're going to die. Have you left stuff better? Have you left your ministry better when you die than you were living? Because that's going to be the test of your legacy. See, we talk about an inheritance. You can't get an inheritance until somebody dies. So what will it be? So we preach, Lord, I'm about to get in trouble. we preach, build your hopes on things eternal. We preach that. It sounds real good. We might get an amen corner. We might get folk up and shout. But here's where the rubber meets the road. And I'm going to tell you how I know is because I'm looking at what's going on in the pandemic right now. How many have been leaders and to the tune where, you know what, the church is going through this, I'm going to reduce my own salary. You know, I'm going to go put this, and I'm not saying that there are those who are not doing it, but there has to be some level of accountability with leadership. That's what, by and large, that's what seems like is missing from even the whole conversation. My board of directors don't play, and I have it set up so that I have people on the board who won't just say yes to anything. Do y'all, Lord, here I go. Jesus help me. Can you imagine the world we would live in if parents did not tell their kids no?
We live in that world now. What you talking about?
Well, no, by and large, not completely and totally. There's still some parents that got their scruples about themselves. And I think that the board ought to be, or the deacons ought to be able to rebuff. And if the deacons are too weak-kneed and jelly-back, it ought to be some congregants in there who can rebuff what's going on, especially if it's not right. You know, the pastor is a servant. That's what the book say. Now, maybe I'm getting it wrong because I believe in the book.
Hold on. T Savage, I think you're frozen.
I'm frozen?
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Pastor.
Okay. I'm frozen still? Okay, well, let me leave and come back.
Yeah, so that's my viewpoint. I think that there needs to be a lot more training, because I think when we join a ministry, we go in and we really don't understand the process. We don't understand the protocol. We don't understand what's to be expected. And now when I've worked my jobs, the first thing that they did was they took me through orientation. These are your rights. This is what you can expect from us. This is what we expect from you. If there is a problem, this is where you go. If there's something that seems like, because we know perception is reality, it could be nothing. But one of the things that I've learned, if you allow things to go unchecked, it's just going to snowball. And before you know it, you think you're seeing straight and your vision is all messed up. And so I think that the onus is on the people to do stuff, stand up, say something.
Legacy, you have something to say?
Yes, to the pastor. I don't know how some setups are in churches. I grew up in the church, Methodist church. And it's when I hear you saying, you know, that the congregation should have a say-so, it's like, you know, the decisions that are being made in churches today is by pastor and committee. And if the pastor has the vast majority of the committee who is benefiting financially and far as power structure in the church to elevate up under the tutelage of the pastor, then it's like once that board decide on something, they don't care about the opinion of the congregation. And I don't understand. It's more like a political move because it's vastly set up to where, you know, like, yeah, we allow y'all to hear what's going on, but you don't have a vote in something that you are contributing to on a continual basis, which is tithes and offerings, which is coming in, volunteering your time, coming to worship and things, and you don't have a say so. So how do you move the power from the board and the pastor and give the power of decision making to everyone, and then we have a vote, and then we move from there.
I'm gonna tell you something. That's what we've been led to believe. The power has always been in the pew. The power has always been in the pew. But when you have when the church is personality driven, people will overlook things because of the personality. It's a handful of churches I know right now today are in disarray, but they don't want to say anything because of the personality of the pastor. And people have to. One thing I love about my sister, T. Savage, she gonna call me on the carpet. Amen, Sister Savage.
Amen.
She gonna call me on the carpet. And having individuals who will listen, I love you. That's wrong. You as leaders, you have to have that. You know, I don't know where the notion came from that we God's manifestation on planet Earth. No, that's wrong. We in the flesh. We get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, you can't have a yes man around you all the time. You can't have yes men. That's not gonna work. That's not how God works.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but see, if God were to do something, He right and righteous in all His ways. We ain't God.
The thing about it is
So how do you change that?
The first thing that I would say is get a copy of y'all church's bylaws. What do y'all bylaws state? Y'all bylaws are the governing document. And what I found out go ahead, I'm sorry.
But that's the main thing. We add members, but I guarantee if you went through the vast majority of churches and do a survey and say how many individuals who have joined this church have been handed a pamphlet with the bylaws in it of what the do's and don'ts, who have the structure power, how do you get certain things done, and they're not passing those things out.
You can get them from, if it's the state of Florida, you can get them from the state of Florida or whatever state you in. Each entity is required, if they are conducting business, I don't care if you are washing cats or dogs on the street corner. If you are an organized business in any state in these United States of America, you have to have governing documents. And that spells out what's what. That spells out who's in charge. And go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be moderating the show.
But that's what I'm asking you, Pastor. That's what I'm asking you. No, do your thing. But this is what I'm asking because I'm learning. I'm trying to get an understanding of, if we're trying to keep it fair across the board, why do I have to go look for it? It should be already handed out as a new member for me to be already knowing what's going on in the church. I shouldn't have to go to the chambers of commerce or anywhere else to find it. That should be part of my membership package.
Right. I agree.
Like you said earlier, when you went to a job, they took you through orientation. So through orientation, they gave you a handbook with things in there of what you can and can't do. What HR is, who owns the company. So we already know who owns the company, which is God. So when we're going through HR, which will be the pastor, the elder, and things of that nature, why isn't the bylaws already handed to the new members or even the old members so that we can have checks and balances to fall back on in the ministry?
Different churches do it different ways. My church, we have new member orientation. When you join, we have town hall meetings so that everyone is abreast. Everyone has an input. Even though we have that board, we still have town hall meetings. So it's in my particular church, it's not just the pastor making the decision. And I wanted to get back to the question, who gets the money, the pastor or the church? Different people think different things. I've been in the church for 30-something years. My dad's a pastor. Being a pastor, people don't believe it. It is a job. I can't tell you how many times my dad has received phone calls, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. My mama died. My son got shot. Like, he can't just say, I'm asleep, I'll see you in the morning. He got to get up and go to the call. So pastoring is a 24-hour thing. Now, do pastors get paid? Yes. Do pastors pay themselves? No. It should not be set up where a pastor is paying themselves. The board pays the pastor, but it becomes a time where you have a family or someone in the community that's in need, and the church does not have the money. A good pastor is going to say, hey, this is what I'm supposed to make, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it to this family. I'm going to make sure my members, my congregation, my community is straight before I get my paycheck. And that's what I've seen my dad do it plenty of times. Plenty of times.
But I think with the narrative that's presented, it's not that, and I'm gonna say this, I don't have a problem with pastors being paid. I'm gonna tell y'all now, my folks already know I ain't in it for the money. I don't want it. I'm gonna work. That's me. The issue becomes when it's, y'all, come on, I need a $300 line or a $500 line or something that's just in gross excess of the community. Now, I grew up in Detroit. I know what it's like. And there is some merits to what the brother from New Era Detroit is saying. But, and it's not just Detroit, Philadelphia, Miami, Los Angeles. You have these college campus-sized churches. And, if they can afford that and minister to the community, amen, bless God. However, when it becomes more of a leeching and constantly taking and begging, like where's the community service? Listen, we will not find in the Bible, and I challenge anybody, please correct me if I'm wrong. Jesus was in the temple twice. Jesus went out to the community. He was trying to save the community.
He went to where the hoes was at, where the prostitutes was at.
That's what he said.
Right. You like, I'm here to help y'all. I'm here to serve y'all. And that's what we missing. If we are so busy, if we as pastors are so busy serving, we won't have, we ain't thinking about being served, because essentially that's exactly what's happening. We're being served. That was never the makeup. That was never the design of the church at all. Not God's church. I don't know what some of these folk doing, but not God's church.
You actually know what they're doing, because what these pastors are doing, they have a God complex within themselves. So they done got so big to where they at this point feel that they are a God within their self. So when that God complex set in, everything else around you is a blur. Right. So you could have went in with the right intentions, but the more and the bigger you build, the bigger the head gets, and it goes absolutely left.
But see, and that's why I said you have to have people who are not afraid. Yeah, you preach good, but listen, bruh, get that junk straight. Like, and I'm thinking about my brother Timothy in Detroit. He's an attorney. He don't cut no slack either. And you have to, if people want to be humble, get people in your corner that's going to check you when you're wrong.
But you and I both know when people get to that statute, the last thing they want is someone that's going to tell them, hey, listen, that ain't it. Everybody want unicorns and rainbows. They don't want you to show them when they wrong, because even when they wrong, they'll tell you where you could go take your right.
TeAma,
The thing about it is somebody checking them could be the thing that saves them
but
from
you're
their
right.
demise.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right.
But I'm gonna say this. I don't be around people that I can't even, I can't stand them to tell me right from wrong. I wouldn't even build, but you have to build that from the ground up when you come into something. You have to have those checks and balances with you when you first come in before your head gets this big. Because there's nobody's gonna there's no one that's going to check you once your head is already here. And you're not going to allow anybody to come in your circle that will help deflate it because, like TeAma said, the God complex is set in. And most people tend to forget the word when, for me, when I look back and what you know what I'm saying, I remember sitting back and I used to love to follow Creflo Dollar. And living in Georgia, Creflo is, a man that he can articulate very well. And he talks about 90% of what he preaches about is about prosperity and wealth. And it took a while for me to catch on to that this is all this man preaches about. And it's kind of hard when the pastor goes. It's kind of hard when you're getting the word of prosperity and the word about money so much that you tend to forget that there was a rich man in the Bible that actually walked with Jesus for a few minutes, and Jesus told him to give away all his worldly goods, all of his money to the needy, and come follow him. And because that man was so used to having that wealth, that power, that he couldn't let that money go. He couldn't let that wealth go because it had done attached itself to him. And then there's another verse in the Bible where it tells you that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich individual. Because with that, we start to depend more on financial wealth and money than we do God. So the money becomes your God, and you no longer depend upon God.
I agree. But if in the scripture that you had referenced with the rich young ruler, where Jesus told him to sell all your stuff and come and follow me, if he really understood who Jesus was, I'd like to believe that he would have had a different testimony. The passage would be different. The reason why I say that is because as you were talking, the scripture came to mind. Mark 10, where he said, "Nobody has lost anything for my sake, and I haven't given it back to him in this lifetime." So I think having the understanding that I don't believe there's anything inherently wrong with individuals who have a certain amount, who are wealthy, but that wealth should not dictate or stop them from having a relationship with Christ. Now, to segue into the pastors, I think one of the words that comes to mind is representation. If we are representing God, if we based on what he says through his word, are we adequately and accurately representing him? And that's a question that we have to, especially as leaders in the church, that's something that we have to constantly keep before us. What are we? And it seems like we're so attached, as you were saying, so attached to the world. Well, I wonder sometimes if the church is really going to be ready when Jesus returns. The leadership now, and it's a serious question because we're so attached to materialism, so much so that this is a whole different conversation.
But that's the thing.
Go ahead.
But that's the thing that's scary, because and this may be happening on the low level too, but we only see it in a great abundance with mega churches and things of that nature. It's crazy how I don't recall nowhere in the Bible where Christ did anything flashy or flamboyant other than maybe miracles that had no one seen before. So I don't remember Christ having a chariot or having a vast majority of people carrying him around on their shoulders because I'm Christ and marching him around, which he could have easily done that. But everywhere he went about it in a way that was humble and meek. So me watching ministers pull up in Rolls Royces, Benzes, they got jet planes, they got abundance of money, and the congregation, and not just his congregation, the people in the community around are weaker than we ever have been, because our leaders in the church and our faith foundation have shifted their love for God for money. And when you go into churches and we have seating arrangements from you're giving, since you're a donator who donates $1,000 every Sunday, you sit in this section. If you give $20,000, you sit up here at the front. If you're not able to give that, you sit way back there in the skyscrapers. It's no longer about God and religion. It's about minister power, and it's about money. And for those that are good, who are not doing this and are going about their father's business the way that they're supposed to be, other people tend to look at smaller churches and say, well, dang, how much more do God love you that you have not flourished to this point? So that God loves T.D. Jakes much more than he loves Pastor right here on the screen. That he's given him that much more authority and knowledge than he's giving you. That's why T.D. Jakes gets $30, $40, $50, $60,000 every service that he has. And people tend to start to flock more and want to be more around people or ministers who has this going on than they do actually coming to hear the word. Because when I tell somebody I went to Creflo Dollar Church, they say, oh my God, you was in a real church. I went and met T.D. Jakes. Oh my God, you met T.D. Jakes. You are glorifying the person who is delivering the word more than the word that's being given to the man that's delivering it.
But you know what?
Go ahead.
I think that when churches get a certain size, they have their own gravitational pull, if you will. People are going to go if people are accustomed to going to church. If they go visit Dallas, they're going to visit one of the two prominent churches, not necessarily because of what's being said, but just because it has a certain pull. I don't believe that is inherently wrong. But I think it goes back to the motives of the individual. We got to realize that even though that pastors, some of them do nefarious things, But what is it that keeps people going there? If you don't say anything, you can always move your membership.
You'll be
You can always
surprised.
move it, but if
Some
you
people will
don't say
stay just
anything,
because
then
of the
then
membership
the
they have with the members
continuation.
in the church.
Say that again.
I say some people will
Yes.
stay just because their friends in the church, the members in the church, they don't want to get the bike lash or hear what someone else have to say. But only thing that I always refer back to, if you go in the Bible, you can only name one time that you ever seen Jesus irate. And basically the thing that you're doing is what Jesus would have came in there, turned over all the tables, your collection plates, all the rest of that. So up under that same roof, you're literally doing the only thing. This man did not scream out, did not throw a temper tantrum when he was being tortured. But when you decided to idolize things, be about money, that's when you saw Jesus had a temper. So,
Right.
and you could find that in Mark 21. You could go there, Matthew 21:12. Like, so I don't know. I just be like, I be on the outside of that one.
Speaking of money, Legacy, I don't mean to cut you off, Pastor. Speaking of money, Legacy, if you're ready, Legacy, I'm going to show your screenshots. Legacy has some stuff that he wants to share with you guys. He did a little research, add to tonight's topic.
Stop.
You're going to have to read that, Tony. I can't see that.
Oh, Lord. In a report by the Leadership Network in 2010, the average balance salaries of pastors at 253 mega churches and 38 states in 4 Canadian provinces reported that a lead pastor in a mega church can earn an average salary of $147,000, according to an article on the report by the website Christian Post. However, the salary range from lead pastors can be from $40,000 to $400,000. Executive pastors at mega churches earn an average salary of $99,000 a year. The salaries reported in the survey. So that's the first thing you brought up. The second thing you brought up was, can you read that one?
The Shocking Network of the 10 richest U.S.
It says the shock.
Would you like somebody to read
it? What? No, it's too small for me to really read it. So go ahead and read it.
It says the Shocking Network of the Shocking Network of. Hold
These
on, I got
10 richest U.S. pastors will blow your mind. I'll read it, sis, if you want me to.
Okay.
How much is sharing the word of God worth? The typical church.
Go ahead, Savage.
I'm sorry, was I supposed to read or no?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. How much is sharing the word of God worth?
Go ahead.
The typical church pastor performs religious services, directs church operations, provides spiritual counseling, and more. There's no doubt that pastors have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, even though they can, and it's cut off. Joyce Myers, $8 million. How do you? During the childhood of sexual abuse, Joyce Myers became a born-again Christian while in elementary school. She started teaching Bible classes that eventually were broadcast on the radio. In 1985, Myers formed her own ministry, Life in the Word, and she also began airing a weekly TV show. 10 million, Franklin Graham. Although Franklin Graham is an evangelist and the son of a well-known pastor, Billy Graham, he didn't convert to Christianity until he was 22 years old. He eventually went on to take over the organizing events for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Am I supposed to keep going?
Please.
I don't know. I can't read.
He takes part in Christian revival tours. His net worth is reported as $10 million. The younger Graham, 68, came under criticism for calling Islam a very evil and wicked religion after the September 11, 2001 attacks. Graham has continued to invite criticism of his public remarks in recent years. He called for unity behind President-elect Biden following the attacks on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, but the Charlotte Observer referred to it as a hollow call following Graham's statements 2 weeks earlier about the election being falsely stolen. He's friendly with the president. Jake's net worth has been estimated at $20 million, according to celebrity.
What you say? Legacy?
Before she's going on to the next, before T7 gets allowed to finish the reading, it's going to the next person. So we got to slow it down so she can get everybody to see what she's reading.
Okay.
He talked about his wealth with Oprah in a 2012 interview and stated that he draws income from his megachurch. In addition to earning money off his best-selling books and producing movies, Jakes is one of several notable pastors to provide words of encouragement to his followers in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Rick Warren, he donates most of his money to charity.
Now, Paul, I want to say, hold on, Savage, hold on, let me say something.
So they make a killing.
Go back to TD Jakes. Just go back. This is what this man said. He offers words of encouragement. People in this time need not only words of encouragement, offer some of your money to the people that are not being able to feed their family. They need more than words of encouragement. They're hardly any jobs. People are out here doing whatever they got to do to survive. And you're telling me that that's what you had to offer? That's what you had to offer. Go on to the next person.
Warren, 66, and his wife, Kay Warren, live on 10% of their income and donate the rest to charity. I drive a 12-year-old Ford, have lived in the same house for the last 22 years, brought my watch at Walmart, and I don't own a boat or a jet, Warren told Forbes in a 2013 interview. His net worth is $25 million, reported Celebrity Net Worth. Through Forbes reports, he doesn't take a paycheck from Saddleback anymore. The Bible teaches that we are to love people and use money. But we often get that reversed, and you start loving money and start using people to get more money, Warren said. Money is simply a tool to be used for... I can't read it. I don't see it. Oh, this Billy Graham. Billy Graham.
Oh, you know he got all the money.
At the time of his death in February 2018, at age 99, Graham was estimated to have preached to over 2.2 billion people. He wrote 33 books, some of which became bestsellers. His net worth was reportedly $25 million.
Wow.
Creflo, the name says it all. Creflo Dollar.
Yes,
Dollar has a reported net worth of $27 million. He has been criticized for his lifestyle and possessions, including 2 Rolls-Royce cars, a private jet, and $1 million home in Atlanta and Manhattan. Dollar and his ministry ran into considerable backlash in 2015 when they planned to purchase a private jet estimated to cost around $65 million, but the ministry made plans to go ahead with the purchase anyway. Benny Hinn. His personal use of church-owned luxury goods has attracted criticism. In April of 2017, the IRS and U.S. Postal Service criminal investigators raided Hinn's headquarters in Grapevine, Texas, according to NBC. The Senate Finance Committee also investigated Hinn and 5 other televangelists in 2007. After several years, Hinn and other pastors were cleared of wrongdoing. His net worth is reported at $60 million. Joel Osteen. I hope it's nothing bad about him. I can't see the top, but it says, and church collection reportedly generated $55 million per year. He and his wife, co-pastor Victoria Osteen, live with their 2 kids in a $10.5 million mansion in the Houston suburbs.
That's our pastor. Them your pastor.
Osteen's worth is reported. Would you say Legacy?
Those are y'all leaders, y'all pastors that are talking about God.
Legacy, go out and come back in. Go out and come back in.
Those ain't y'all pastors. These ain't my pastors. Let's get that straight, Mr. Legacy. Osteen's worth is reported $100 million, according to Celebrity Network. In August of 2017, after receiving criticism for not helping Hurricane Harvey victims, Osteen opened his 16,800-seat Houston megachurch to evacuees. In 2019, Kanye West hosted a concert at Osteen's church, according to PR Newswire, which led the pair announcing a Sunday service slated for Yankee Stadium in 2020. That event was postponed because of the coronavirus.
Pause. That statement about Joel Osteen opening his church up is a lie. Joel Osteen went under fire because he did not open up his church when in Houston when the water was coming. And after the people started to criticize him for not opening up the church, that is when he opened up the church. So he didn't do it in the very beginning. He opened it after the news brought attention to him. That's what he did. So he didn't do it. He didn't do it with free-heartedness. He did it because he didn't want to be looked upon as fake. This is what these ministers are doing.
Now, let me say this. Now, I'm one quick. I'm gonna say this to play devil's advocate, but devil don't need no advocates. But we got to look at it also from a holistic point of view. Some of these individuals, they are noted authors, so we can't just believe that the money, their net worth, came from the function of ministry. So that's
what they're saying, though. They say that. P.D. Jackson said it on here. He said that he makes his money off his ministry and his books. Joel Osteen does the same thing. George Myers does it. Because if you don't have the ministry, then you don't have the book.
What do you mean if you don't have the ministry, you don't have the book?
If they did not have the ministry of what they are doing now and the following that they have, then most people wouldn't go out. It's 100 people. It's 100,000 people got books, and they don't become that rich over ministry books. You come that way because of the fact you become rich like that because you made it to a level of people following your books, and yes, you become a person to draw income. But you don't get that type of income just off of books.
I'm not going. No, I got to disagree, and here's why I disagree.
Right.
They have been very skillful. So you have to look at the marketing side of it. Mm-hmm. If you look at how some of the books are marketed, who are they marketed to? What is the single most across America? Every church, I don't care what church, I don't care what denomination, the backbone of the church has been women.
All people. Yes.
No, yes. Women. And if I'm recognizing, okay, I have a predominantly large congregation, I'm gonna say if I got 1,000 people, 850 of those people are probably going to be women. That's just the reality of it. And through my counseling and through whatever it is I'm doing in the function of ministry, I'm able to feel the hurt of the people that are coming in through my doors. Now I am able to create something that can help them. or something that people can relate to across the world. And I believe that's what has been done. But I think that it would be unfair to just say that they wouldn't have one without the other. I don't agree with that. And I say that just because I believe that T.D. Jakes particularly would be phenomenal without the church.
I'm going to elaborate on that, Pastor. Let T. Savage finish these. We got two more.
Pat Robertson. In addition to his TV network, Robertson, 90, is a former Marine who ran unsuccessfully for the U.S. president in 1988. He also founded Christian Coalition, a Christian right organization that raises money for the conservative political candidates. He is also founder, CEO, and chancellor of Regent University. Roberts' net worth is supported as $100 million. Kenneth Copeland.
Watch this. Watch this right here. Watch this one. Watch this one.
Kenneth Copeland Ministries is located on a 1,500-acre campus near Fort Worth, Texas. The grounds include a church as well as a private airstrip and hangar for a $17.5 million jet and other aircraft. Copeland reportedly lives on a $6.3 million lakefront mansion funded by his church. Although Celebrity Network report he's worth $300 million, other reports say Copeland could be worth $750 million or more.
Now,
let me freshen up my listeners on that. What Kenneth Copeland is about him?
Who do you know in the book that drawing in that much money?
No, I'm not excusing all of it. To be honest, I don't know anybody. But what I'm saying is the ability there with marketing absent of church. Yes, and I'm gonna tell you who did it. Tyler Perry.
He's not a minister.
You say no. I'm saying that individuals have the ability to do it absent of income of a church.
But what I'm going to say on that, Pastor, is this. You show outside of Tyler Perry, we're talking about as many ministers as you know. Show me one. Besides, you talk about Tyler Perry. Show me one that's not made it to them. Without stepping on the necks of the people in the congregation. Because what I'm trying to get an understanding of is, even before T.D. Jakes became a mega minister, he tried other things that did not flourish also. I just didn't show that. But I'm trying to get you to understand that when I have a congregation of 20,000 that's in my church.
Excuse me, Legacy, not to cut you off, but to cut you off. Some of the viewers are saying you sound a little muffled. They're having a hard time understanding you.
Oh, well, hold on a second. Hold on.
Can y'all hear me now?
Oh, that's everything to me. Yes. Okay.
So thank you. So what I'm saying is,
go ahead. I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
Read that first, Tony. Read that first.
It says, y'all making me mad. This is ridiculous. I understand they must get paid, but the lavish lifestyles are too much. Now, does the income separate what they make through their books and appearances? What I was going to say to that, Ruth, is I understand, for example, some of those like one of the churches said they had 16,000 chairs. And I'm sure every Sunday they're jam-packed. I think it was Joel Osteen's 16,800 chairs. So my thing is, if everybody, let's just say, for example, let's say he's collecting $100,000 just in offering every Sunday. Me, if I was a pastor of a church, of an entity, if it takes $1 million to run my household on a monthly basis, and the church is paying me, let's say, $2 million in salary, and I put out a book that makes another $5 million, I don't need that $5 million. Now let me take that $5 million and do something for my people. I'm the shepherd over these sheep.
That's right.
You know, because if the church is already giving me $2 million,
because guess what, Tony? It is your sheep that are going out and buying your book.
Exactly. You know, so
why not give some of that money back
church is
to
already
the sheep?
$2 million, but it only takes $1 million for me to sustain. So basically, I'm making an extra $1 million from my salary. So
right.
So if my book is bringing in $5 million and my movie deal is bringing in $50 million, I don't need that $55 million. Now let me take that $55 million and do something for my sheep. Sally walked to church every Sunday. I could buy her a car.
Right.
No, but you're not gonna buy a car. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna send the bus to go pick her up and say you did something for her, but you didn't change her life. You just gave her some food for thought.
No, that's the other pastor. This pastor is gonna buy her the car.
Not you, Tony. I'm just talking in general.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm sorry, Brother Anthony.
Man, they cut people off all the time. Keep talking, sir.
Oh no, because I don't want to start with
and at the same token, like I said, if I have two families sharing one household, then I may have to buy the one that moved in, buy them a house. They don't have to live with their cousin no more. You know, so lights off. Let's pay her light bill. Not just paying for this month, but let's pay her light bill for the year.
Right. And
let me tell you, but that sounds good. But let me tell you one thing I learned from MC Hammer. You could be the nicest person, and if you giving out just like that, I want you to know crystal clear. A lot of people want something for nothing, and you'll see all that a crash, and they'll still be there with their hand out.
But I understand what you're saying, TeAma. But like I said, if my means are being met, unlike MC Hammer, when he gave to he was broke, that was stupid. But if my means are being met, because the church is paying my salary, my $2 million a year, so my means are met, I'm good. Me and my household is good. As for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. So I'm good.
Right.
So now that I'm making these extra coins from, I just did a movie and I made $100 million. I just wrote 3 books and made another 15 million. Now those that's on the roster, that's members, that's tithers, even if they're not tithers, they come every week, and they may not afford to give, but they're here. You know, okay. You know, it's probably side jobs around the church they can do. Now they have a job, give them some income.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. I don't agree, and this is with any entity, not just the church. I don't believe in just throwing money at a situation. With individuals, I honestly believe that there has to be a component within the giving that has a financial literacy piece. There has to be, because if I give somebody come to me, Rev, I need some help. Okay, we're going to help you, but let's see what we can do, how we can better equip you so that you're not in the same situation 6 months to a year down the line. Because see, now we have to, one thing that we got to talk about, especially in the Black community, is economic empowerment.
You see what I'm saying right there, Pastor? This right here, Kamal, he says Jordan could have never sold a shoe if he didn't play basketball. And TD Jakes could have never sold books or any of that nature to the degree that he has become a millionaire if he never got to that pinnacle where he's at in the Potter House right now. He could have never done it because nobody would have followed him like that. We have local pastors right here that don't make that type of money.
But see, you got
Pastor Lee M. Sapp says, that's problematic, Anthony. I'd rather teach people to fish once they've been fed. Business, loans, mortgages, and home down payments will go much longer. Like they say, you teach a man, you give a man a fish, he eat for a day. You teach him to fish, he eat for a lifetime. I bet that's what you're going with that, Pastor.
And that's true. But you got to, in order for people to be able to fish for a lifetime, there has to be skills and there have to be jobs available for them to go fish for a lifetime. Everybody, just because they have technical schools, they have colleges that give out free education for things, but they still don't have enough jobs for those individuals to go fishing. So until they're able to do that, we need to be able to supplement something. If I'm drawing in $65 million a year, for $65 million a year, I'm going to equip them with an education. I'm going to equip them with job skills, and you need to generate jobs so that they can go out and do that. If you cannot generate jobs, then what you're talking about is frivolous, because that skill that you just gave them, guess what? It goes to waste.
I think I agree with you, but here's my I'm hearing two different conversations. Yes, the aspect of religion and the responsibility of the church. Because I don't want us to place the blame squarely on the institution of the church when there are certain forces, be it governmental or societal, that contribute to this problem. Now, we preach bring 10% to the storehouse. Now, and people have faithfully and righteously done that. But where does the responsibility that the church cannot only be the institution that has the onus of what it is that you're talking about? I honestly believe that there has to be some kind of advocacy component so that parishioners can call their congressmen and their legislature to
Let me help you, Pastor. Let me help you. I'm gonna steal one of my co-hosts' favorite word. Let me teach you. As the pastors of our community, they're exactly right. It starts from our community to legislature. So what we have is what are called block votes that are inside of our government institution, to where we, in order to get things to change to benefit us to a degree like that, we have to first learn that it starts inside of legislation. And who does it better? Our pastors. So guess what? If we want some changes done, our pastors should be beating the street down, getting people the education and understanding of every person that is inside of their local city hall, what they come here to do. And we do block votes. And if we can't get individuals in these seats in order to change these things in our community, excuse my friends, but we got to get their ass up out of there. And at the end of the day, until we learn that our power lies in numbers, see, it was just awesome to just see how numbers piled up, especially in Georgia, because they had a runoff and all this and that. And I watched the minister get elected into the United States Senate. And because the people saw his body of work over his years, that these people got behind him and got him elected. Georgia hasn't had a black U.S. senator ever until this year. And it's amazing to me how we ask how we can do this. But yet it's still, if you look at we talking about the powers that be mega churches. If we look at the fact that these people are sitting down with our same politicians, are in meetings with these individuals, and are not doing anything other than kissing ass. So we need to stop glorifying these large people who are not doing anything other than running their mouth and drawing a major paycheck because they just getting paid.
We're joined by our very own Reverend Sapp. How you doing tonight, Reverend Sapp?
Hey, Reverend Sapp. Excuse my French, Molly.
Good stuff, y'all.
It's so good to see you, ma'am.
Have you been hearing the discussion?
I have, and I kept going off and then coming back.
So what's your verdict? What do you have to say?
Also, this attraction of I don't disagree with anything anybody said. You all, doing well, and your guest pastors is right on it. And I think culturally we have been the center of the community for so long.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody expects everything to come through the church. Now you have people living outside of the Black communities. So I get that we're supposed to be the central information center, signing people up for the vaccination, getting that information out, that kind of a thing. But to be responsible for people's livelihoods, I think that's a little much. I think your life should change. I tell my members, your life should change when you come to Christ. Definitely.
Yep.
And if you come into my church and you paying rent, our goal is to get you in the house. That don't mean I'm going to go out and buy you a house, but I may help you get some financial counseling, find a better job, get that kind of a thing.
Well, I'm not. Let me correct myself. When I made the comment earlier about buying so and so a car, buying so and so a house, yes, I would definitely educate them. Yes, I would get them into schooling, but like I said, with all that knowledge, it's like I said, it's trivial, privilege without jobs. So in addition to educating you, now I'm going to also because if the church is the mega ministry now. If the church is paying me my salary of $2 million and my standard of living is only $1 million, but I just did a book deal that made 50 million, and I just did a movie deal that made 100 million, that's 150 million extra that technically I don't need.
No, I get it. I understand.
So now that I've educated, Junebug, now I can also buy him a little piece of car.
Junebug.
And Sally staying with her sister Candy with her 3 children. I can educate her and also put a down payment on the home and make sure she's working. And she got it going on over there now. Steve walked to church every Sunday, but he's coming giving me his tithe every Sunday. So let me get you a little piece of car, so you're no longer walking. And I know even with Jamal Bryant in Atlanta with the church there, I think he got like either 100 members or either 100 members or 1,000 members out of prison, out of jail. That also, and because those people got out of jail and out of prison, guess what? Now half of them definitely became members because they said, "Damn, he did this for me." Mm-hmm. Partly is I feel obligated, and God is real, and I see God in a whole different light. So now he also increases the membership.
I'm going to say this. A lot of people won't ever see God until they see us.
Amen. You better say that for the people in the back in the GED
Say
section.
that one more time, Pastor.
I said a lot of people won't see God until they see him in us.
All right, because your biggest testimony is you. It's not what you say, it's what you do.
Right.
Have y'all heard of Floyd Flake? Along the lines of what you're saying, he wrote a book. I can't think of the name of the book, but when I was starting to plant my church, I read that from cover to cover. And what he did was amazing. Exactly what you're talking about, Legacy and Anthony. He created entrepreneurial opportunities for his members. They work. The church owned businesses that employed the members.
Right.
So it was a circular thing with this money. The money stayed in house to the point that they have a credit union. So that means they can turn around and do loans, business loans, mortgages. That's the idea.
That's what's up.
But Pastor, that is exactly what I'm saying. If like Tony say, $50 million doing this and $100 million from a movie, I can start my own Black financial bank to start to give Black people structural life living. I can start entrepreneurial jobs. I can open up Black hospitals and things, local little community things to where we can continue to net our community to where now Black people have a way of having a way of feeling more important, because everybody don't feel that they're worthy. Everybody don't feel that God moves in their lives and in their favor when they're at their lowest point. We have to be real. When Christ said he came for the sick and shut in. He came for the poor. He came for those who needed help, not those that didn't need help. Because if you don't think you need help, then good, I go get the ones that need it. But these mega churches are only reaching individuals who already have the funds. And we need to take some of that money that is coming in and generate it to where not only blacks, I'm not just talking about blacks, but I'm sorry, I'm not anti-white, but I'm definitely pro-black. And when I'm seeing my black pastors take and make millions of dollars and don't use this money to generate it back in their community, to not use their leverage and use political power of saying, my black folks will not come out and vote for you if you don't do a damn thing, excuse my French, for us. I'm sick of people sitting back, waiting, and all these ministers are sitting up here and they started folding money and putting it behind their back to keep their mouth closed. Because one of the greatest ministers that ever did anything lost his life behind putting his life, his wife, his children, and family life on the line daily, which is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he did it every day. Medgar Evers did it every day. Malcolm X did it every day, and knowing that there was a
but I'm saying
going
legacy that those preachers still exist. You hear about the other ones because that's what's newsworthy. That's what's charismatic. That's what the megas are all about. It's about worshiping a person. It's charismatic. It's the way our news goes. It's about our social media.
Right.
But there are churches, black, white, Asian.
No, ma'am. That was one of the first things Tony said. We're not saying that there aren't.
There are wolves in sheep clothing. Every
yes, ma'am.
that has the word church on it ain't a church. Every
That's
preacher
right.
that say he is a preacher is not called of God.
That's right. But Pastor, how do you change that? So you know how you change that? It was one day I told a police officer. He asked me one day. He said, "Why do everyone look at police officers in a bad light?" And I asked him one day, I said, well, let me explain something to you. For every bad police officer that is on your force, and if you have never called him out or reported him for his dirty, wrong deeds and brought it to the light to where he can get kicked off of the force or whatever you had to do to make sure that he was doing wrong, he was playing drugs on people, he was racist. If you as the good officer did not stand up and do anything about it, you are in the same branding. Because from what I was taught, and one of the greatest things that police officers love to say, that birds of a feather flock together, and one bad apple spoils a bunch. So if you have one bad apple that you know about, and if you are a pastor, police, fireman, I don't care what it is, if you are not bringing it to the front and letting it be known that this individual is not right, then it makes it bad for everybody. It makes it bad for everybody. So we have a job to do, which is to help the church kick out the fake.
Right.
We have to do that. Because if you don't, guess what? The same trickle-down effect happens. It happens, and it keeps going because nobody is doing a thing about the sheep, the wolf that's over there in sheep clothing. Nobody is killing the wolf that got sheep clothing on, and you know he's a wolf. Nobody's calling him out. Nobody's sitting him down. We're steady letting him live, and he's steady getting fat off of the sheep, and you wonder why you had 101 sheep, and now you're down to 30. Because he done sat there and got fat off of the community.
That's not new, and that's the human condition. People, I heard somebody say earlier about people being vulnerable and following these people, but people seem to drop their defenses when they come across the threshold of the church. If you go to Walmart and somebody tick you off or cheat you, you're going to call a supervisor, you're going to call a manager. You're probably not going to go to that one again. You're going to go find another Walmart that's more friendly or whatever. When you try to buy a car, you have a criteria of what you want that car, that house. But we don't have that kind of agenda when we're looking for a church home. And that's what we should be doing, because it should be the most important relationship that you have. But the human condition in the church culture specifically is full of fear, full of rejection, and full of hurt. People will just leave and stay home than fight.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all listen, I hate to get off on such a spirited conversation, but 0500 hours is going to come early in the morning.
Oh, you agree at 5 a.m.?
Yes. I appreciate the invitation. I appreciate the spirit of discussion. This will not be my last time if I am so humbly invited again.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, David.
Everybody, that's Pastor David Wiggins. His information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you need to reach out to him for any reason or continue this conversation or any other conversations, you can reach him on Instagram as well as Facebook. His information will be scrolling down the bottom of the screen throughout the show, even once he's gone.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all. And I will see y'all next time.
Thank you.
Pastor Wiggins.
All right, now y'all be smart.
Actually, tell when you go live so they know when to catch you live.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. We are live every first and third Sunday at 10:30 a.m. and we are live every first and third Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. On Facebook Live, and pretty soon we will be coming to YouTube. So definitely come and check us out. We are Bible-based ministry.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, sir. Be safe.
Have a good night.
Yes, you as well. Thank y'all.
Take care.
All right, nice skin.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, yeah, he was awesome. Thank you, for
interesting, good conversation.
Yes,
I'm glad you guys enjoyed them.
Great conversation for you to be still awake. You sleep.
I got from the church late tonight. Yeah.
Pastor Sal.
Late hours for me.
Pastor Sal.
Yes, sir.
How did you feel about now? I want to be on that article that we were showing of the different 10 pastors and how much money they grow. That was in 2010. So I'm just wondering, that was 11 years ago. So I'm pretty sure they're even greater now. How did you feel about seeing that?
First of all, I and this is just my personal opinion. I could never pastor a mega church. There's just too many people. I could not adequately pastor, to me. So that's just ridiculous to me. If my church exceeds a certain amount, then it's time for a second church for me to appoint another pastor over there, because people need personal care. I don't understand how you can pastor 2,000 people, 2,500 people, 330.
Don't know half their names. I don't know nobody's name.
Exactly.
So Pastor Sam, could you conceive to think that people stop following Christ and start following the individual who's delivering the word, when you know that the church has gotten that big to where instead of branching off, because you can branch off and get another church and people will still say, I didn't come to hear brother such and such preach, even though it's the same name, same denomination and everything, they didn't come to hear him preach. They came to hear Pastor Sapp preach. So it wouldn't matter if you got another church or not. The people that are going to be, that is used to coming to your church, filling up them pews, unless you're going to take away some seats and stuff to where you can only preach to 300, those same individuals are going to go to your church and fill up those pews, and then the new following is gonna shift over there because there's no seat available, and then they're still gonna say, we want a live stream of you preaching over the TV. We don't want Brother Miller.
See, I'm reading between those lines.
So
everybody gonna preach the same.
It's actually a church like that in Fort Lauderdale. It's actually a church like that already in Fort Lauderdale.
To piggyback on what
everybody not called to do everything. The people who I attract, my associate minister might attract a whole different another group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Even Jesus didn't do it all. He didn't preach to everybody. He didn't heal everybody. He didn't save everybody. What he did do was everything God told him to do. I'm in my lane.
Yes, ma'am.
But a lot of these people came out of their lane. At some point, you get the big head. You start feeling more important than the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all remember? I don't know if you saw. What was it called? Jesus. There was some books that came out several years ago. They made it into a movie with Kirk Cameron. What's his name?
Was it? Oh, I know you're talking about.
Left Behind?
Yes. And remember the black pastor was when they did the oh Lord have mercy, y'all. It's late now. I'm brain dead. The
rapture.
Rapture. And he was stunned that he didn't get taken. And he had to admit that his heart left the ministry. It became rote. Now you can easily say it could have been somebody like Creflo. His heart left the ministry and he became big-eyed or big-headed or a God complex like or whatever. But that happens because we're human.
Mm-hmm.
What they needed was somebody behind them who's humble enough and brave enough and loved them enough to say, you ain't that great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Humble yourself.
You're not that important. You have to have
yes, ma'am.
You have to have a circle. Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Been there, done that. So if we can't keep confessing that we know God and he's good and he's big and then not trust him to put people where they need to go. They might have these earthly rewards. This will be it though.
Yes, ma'am.
They need a jet to go to different. That when I say, why would I need to go to India to preach? They have preachers in India.
The reason why, Pastor Sal, is because it's like what I'm trying to get y'all to see. People stop accepting the word if it doesn't come from this person.
Well,
so people start to put.
But then that's
people start.
That's on the person.
Yes, ma'am. So when somebody, when someone tells you that your ministry is going to receive $2.5 million if you come out and preach in India, because those people are going to donate money to your ministry. But while you're there, this is what you're going to leave with, and you're going.
You're going to get that back.
You're going to get that 2.5 million because it benefits. It's supposed to benefit your people, but you're really thinking about how much it's going to benefit you.
Yeah.
So, you know, in Islam, there was there's a saying when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu passed away. I remember Brother Umar came in, and it's in the Quran, and it says that he came out and said this. He said, to all of those who worship the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the prophet is dead. He turned around and said, but to all those who are worshiping and still worship and faith and truth of the Almighty Allah, he's still self-subsisting. He's still all God. He's still all living. People have gotten so wrapped up in serving the man who is delivering the word than they have of God. And that is why the phrase in the Bible that says, wide is the gate to destruction and narrow is the kingdom of heaven, because people serve man in physical and carnal ways and don't realize it.
You put it on the man. You put it on the people. I put the responsibility on the leader, because Jesus says, "I didn't come to be served. I come to serve." And a real pastor,
yes, ma'am,
real
indeed,
shepherd is a servant.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I want to piggyback on what Legacy was just saying. I remember the church I was going to. They probably have about anywhere from 500 to 700 members every Sunday, and one thing for sure is what the pastor would do if he wasn't going to be there next Sunday. Like at first he would tell them, "Well, I'm not going to be here next Sunday. You know, I'm going to have a guest pastor come in because I'm going to be out of town for whatever reason or whatever." So somebody, I'll be back. But he would tell him he's not going to be here. So certain members would. So we went from 700 members showing up to probably 400 because pastor wasn't going to be there. So what he stopped doing is telling them when he was going to show up, and he just wouldn't show up. And the guest pastor would show up, and it would be packed house.
But see, I talk my guest preachers up. Before I don't do that. I talk them up. Y'all pay attention. Y'all come on and support her or him or whatever, and they do. Transparency.
Anybody else experiencing an echo?
Yes.
Legacy, mute your phone. Everybody mute your phone or mute your device. Hello? Hello? Okay. Legacy, come back in.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello? I hear. So it's on Legacy end.
Ain't nothing in my room going on, so there's nothing in my room.
As soon as you unmuted, I heard the echo.
I don't know. I go out and come back in and see.
All right. Everybody come back in. You know it's always Legacy.
That's because Legacy been doing the most.
Exactly.
Pastor, where do you what's the name of the church you pastor at, Pastor Lee?
The Shepherd's Heart AME Church in Royal Palm Beach.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're in
Not African Methodist Episcopal. I grew up at African Methodist Episcopal.
Did you?
Richard Allen.
Yes, sir. I am a third generation.
She has Bible studies and lectures on Facebook Live, and they're awesome. I tune in sometime and watch it when I can, when I'm available, and she keep it real. Excellent pastor.
Oh, thank you. I consider myself to be, people say progressive Christianity. Christianity is Christianity. It's not progressive. It's not old, but I'm a progressive preacher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's different. The word don't change, but our understanding of it should. And I'm gonna put this out, and then I'm gonna shut up because I keep going. The biggest, if you can get this down, you will be so ahead of the game. So much in the Bible, and I heard all through the show people quoting the Bible, but you got to realize, and you have to see it in the context that it's in. So much of it has to do with culture and custom. You have to be able to distinguish between culture, custom, and command. A lot of things that they had to do then had everything to do with the custom or the culture. It had nothing to do with God. God didn't have anything to do with that. That stuff about the women, that wasn't on God. That was on men. It was a patriarchal society. So, I get in fights all the time about how can I call myself a pastor when the Bible says that women are not supposed to be over men. Well, it ain't 34 BC. It's 2021.
Okay.
We've actually had ministers, when my dad first became a pastor, leave because you had a woman in the pulpit. My dad said bye.
Yeah. It's antiquated. It's antiquated theology or antiquated belief systems. And worship, if you look and Legacy, you seem to be knowledgeable here. if you research and you go through just the stories in the Bible, you see that worship has always changed to meet the
Yes,
culture.
ma'am.
Now, when that preacher said Jesus was in the temple twice, Jesus was a Jew. He was in there 3 times a week for his entire life. Christianity didn't start until he resurrected. So it's not fair to compare the church to the temple.
Correct.
Pastor Legacy.
Shut down now. Y'all got me all hyped up.
Legacy is so knowledgeable and of the word because he actually was studying to be a minister.
Wow, you should.
Oh, you were in seminary?
How was that gonna work?
You was in seminary, Legacy?
He was studying under another pastor.
Man.
You talk too much.
And what
you come on in the field.
Well, he would have been a great pastor, but he was introduced to
women's.
Yes.
Well, you know, Abraham had several wives and several side chicks, and he was still a patriarch, and he was still a major.
Pastor South, this is
Pastor South. Don't put that in his head because he gonna run with it. Don't put that in his head. Do not condone the foolishness.
Pastor South, I grew up like I told you from age 9. I actually went into my church in Georgia was St. Peter's African Methodist Episcopal Church, and I was up under the tutelage of Reverend J.B. Robinson in Georgia, and he took me and my 2 brothers and 3 other young ladies, and he gave it to us, and I was the one, I guess, that took to the Word of God more such than the others, but
so
it was just things that it was things that were in the church that was going on as I got older that I started to notice that really turned me from church. And one thing was collections, and I even to this day I still don't understand what God needs with money, and I have a problem.
More for the building.
How the lights gonna stay on? Who gonna pay the mortgage? How the water gonna run?
Come and visit
Did
me.
I finish? Did I finish?
Let me show you the light bill, the water bill.
Yes, ma'am. But Pastor, my church at that time only held about 60 people. And we only ran lights on Sunday and Wednesday. When I say we literally went inside and turned off the box.
But y'all didn't feed nobody?
Maybe they wanted a bigger building. They wanted to save towards getting something bigger.
I'm trying, listen, and I'm okay with that. But guess what? Out of all these years of me not being at that church, being away for over 22 years,
they still in the same spot.
I went back to the church. The only thing that has changed in that church in 22 years is the door at the front of the church. That's it.
And they still collect the funds.
The church don't hold no more people. So this is my thing.
But do you know if they do any outreach? When we feed the homeless every week, and we do that out of pocket. We don't have a grant. We don't have free money.
And I do understand that. I do, trust me, I do understand that. I totally understand that.
Ministry costs
but
money.
But it don't take 5 collections to do that. But I'm gonna tell you a story. And I told Tony. And I told Tony.
I'm with you because I know what you're saying. You AME. They may not understand. But then that's
Yes,
the
ma'am.
traditional AME when you got all the different types of collections. We take up one collection and we still AME.
But see, that's the new AME. But the old AME took up six collections. You had Sunday school collection. You got Sunday school collection at 9:30.
But
you got the young YPD program, the junior that got their little department. You take up a collection from them. You got the floral club. You got the stick and shut in. You got the minister. You got the minister.
Do you know that the in the Judaism they also had several different types of collections?
Yes, ma'am.
I think of like 8 different ones. So
they're
just categorizing it, and you can see
Pastor,
that as a way of being transparent too.
This is what broke me. This is what messed me up, and it made me. That's when my eyes opened. And a lot of people may not understand this when I say this. Growing up a Methodist, the vast majority of my family is Christian. They go to Church of Christ. 2 things that shifted my thought process and my belief. One is, one summer I left from Valdosta, Georgia, and came out here to Jupiter, Florida, to visit. They had to stay the summer with my auntie. So my auntie
from Jupiter, born and raised.
My auntie lives in Jupiter, over there by the Walmart, and her name Rosie.
Okay.
But she ended up. My mama couldn't have known this. Because when I got down, my auntie knew I liked to go to church. So my auntie was like, Tony, we're going to go to church whatever day, Saturday, I think that was. And she was like, I was like, what church go on Saturday? She was like, Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, yeah.
So right then,
oh my Lord.
I was like, I ain't going to that church. She was like, yes, you are going. I was like, look, my mama don't want me going to no Jehovah's Witness church. So I ain't going. She said, either you going or you getting on the bus to go back. So I went to church. I'm going to be honest with you. It was one of the best forced decisions that ever happened to me. Because I actually got a chance to go to a church that I seen other races besides black people in the church, and to walk in and see different nationalities into this church, racial, ethnicities, and things of that nature. It opened my eyes to, hey, we can do this together. But then,
but you got to understand the history of the black church was born out of, forced out of us because of white supremacy. We could not walk into a white church.
Yes, ma'am.
So now that we have integration, we just supposed to forget our historical churches. I mean, the AME Church is founded by a freed African, but it's not just for Africans or African Americans. It's for everybody. Every church should be inclusive.
Yes, ma'am. But listen, Pastor. So at the end of church, I'm sitting around, I'm looking. I don't know. There ain't no collection plates. I'm waiting on collection plates. They never came.
They just don't take it at the service.
They never. But guess what?
They give it.
They didn't get it because.
No, let me tell you. I can help you. Being raised as a Jehovah's Witness, they are on the wall.
As I walked out of Kingdom Hall, there was like a little stand, and it said, "Give if you can." If you can't, that's okay too. God loves you. And
it's at your own discretion. You're not forced to do anything.
That's right. And that is when.
But they do. And you know why they do? Because the importance of what it's for is given over.
But what he's trying to say, they give, but there's no such thing in the Kingdom Hall religion as you give 10% tithes, because Jehovah's Witnesses feel when Jesus Christ when Jesus Christ died, he paid the sins. I'm telling you, I was raised Jehovah's Witness my whole life. My mother is still a Jehovah's Witness, so they don't take tithes.
Tithing is under the old covenant altogether anyway. You give what you have. You give what you can. My motto is, give what you need and give all you can. But
so
what
wait,
I'm
your
saying is
church,
that
your church, they're not subject to the 10% tithe.
I'm sorry.
You're at your church, they're not subject to the 10% for tithe.
The church, as a denomination, does, but me individually, as the pastor there, theology-wise, it's not in the new covenant.
Okay.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
the thing.
So,
Here's the
so
thing.
you
And this is
believe somewhat what the Jehovah's Witnesses do?
Well, what I was
how
trying to
can
say
you?
is one of the things that's very attractive about the witnesses is the family, is the sense of family, the sense of belonging, the sense of connection. And so just like if you were at your house and you needed this and you needed that, you're going to give over some money.
Well, I
I
ain't
have a
never
question,
connect with
Pastor
them
Lee.
like that.
I have a question, Pastor Lee. So you feel like because the tithing was in the Old Testament, it's not relevant because it's
No. There's the Old Testament and then there's the Old Covenant. They're not the same thing. The Old Covenant goes right up through till Jesus dies.
Mm-hmm.
It surpasses the Old Testament. The Old Testament, the Old Covenant was exclusive for the Jews. It was an exclusive
So you
agreement with
said,
God
and so
and the
because of the old covenant, it's because it's in the Old Covenant, we don't have to tithe as Christians.
We have to give. Paul talked about giving.
And a lot of people get that mixed up.
I tell them it could be 5%. I tithe 30%, or give 30%. I say tithe because that's what people are used to, but it's giving. It's not.
So you feel like we should give, but we don't have to give 10%.
I think you should give as the word says, not grudgingly, but cheerfully.
That's right.
Yeah, freely.
What I'm saying as far as the percentage.
Now I'm not opposed to 10%. That's a good starting place. That's a good starting place.
But Pastor, there are more ways to tithe than other being monetary.
No.
So there's no other way.
No. There's talent. This is what you give to your church. Talent, treasure. Y'all realize it's late now.
We do talent, tissue, and time. Your time, your tissue.
Time, talent, and treasure. Yeah. Time, talent, and treasure. Those are things that you give. Your treasure is your treasure. There's no replacing the treasure.
Treasures are different things because money is not a treasure to me. It's a necessity, but it's not a treasure.
Well,
Drake, you frozen.
In the words of the Bible, treasure means money.
Okay, but he also said,
I can see your picture. Go into the comments and come back.
He said that if the only way that I can tithe is me, if somebody comes up to me and I have some money in my pocket and I'm going to get something to eat and I can afford to get them something to eat, I was always taught, even through the AME church, that is a form of tithing.
No. That's
so
serving.
Everybody has
that's serving. That's loving your neighbor. When we're talking about giving monetarily to the church, it's for the sustaining of the ministry. Period. Malachi.
When did anybody give money?
It wasn't always
to
money.
Christ?
It wasn't always money, but it was always, I want to say, currency. When Malachi said, "Bring all of the tithes into the storehouse," they didn't bring money. They brought animals.
They brought food. They brought frankincense. They brought myrrh. They brought all that type of stuff.
But it was to sustain, because they fed people. They helped people. It was about the ministry. Now, if they took that, then here's my thing with that. And I hear your heart, and I'm saying that's service. That's loving your neighbor. My problem is, the church is not, in my opinion, not doing what the church is fully supposed to be doing. Otherwise, you have people who are giving to United Way, that are giving to feed the children. These should all be churches feeding the children and helping the people who are displaced. There are charities that are helping people, but nobody's witnessing.
Exactly.
So when you said the church was open on Sunday and Wednesday, that's problematic to me, because then it's about the show of it instead of the work of it. Church is supposed to be community.
Yes, ma'am. I got you on that. I do understand that. But what I'm saying
confused.
Is, go ahead,
I'm
T.
confused. How is it? Maybe I missed it when I left out and came back in. How is it problematic because they open on Sunday and Wednesday?
Only.
Because they're supposed to be open every day for someone to go get the word.
I'm saying if that's all they do is Bible study and worship, and there's no feeding ministry, there's no outreach, there's nobody there to answer the phone when people need prayer, then it's not a full service thing.
Exactly. But
you heard what he said, Drake.
But I want you to see,
he said when they left, they turned off the fuse box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie,
when you get there, that had me baffled. That part.
Because on Wednesdays before church would start or Bible study would start, Pastor, someone would have to go to the church at 5 o'clock to turn on the box so that the air conditioner could cool the inside of the church before people got there. But I want you to first understand this, though. I was a little boy at 9 growing up watching this. So by the time I came to the understanding, because at those times from the ages of 12 to 15, I was in Bible Scholar Bowls. I was actually going to Bible Scholar. Yes, ma'am, Bible Bowls. I'm going 3 of those. And at that time, I'm only focused on what is going on with me. I'm not seeing what's going on around the church. But like I say, after I left the Jehovah's Witness church, ma'am,
your eyes got open.
Oh, yes. So after I left the Jehovah's Witness church, I came home and I started living with my auntie, who is a Christian, who goes to the Church of Christ. And this is my favorite auntie in the world. And I remember one Easter, I had to go to an Easter program. And you know how we do that big Easter thing. So I'm excited because my aunt is my favorite auntie and I live with her. And I had no problem going to church at the Church of Christ with her. But at this time, I'm about 14, 15. And so that morning, I already had went to church with her at her church because our Easter program was going to be at 4 o'clock that afternoon. So I remember getting ready to ask my auntie, why wasn't she getting dressed to go to church to watch me in my Easter program? And I remember my auntie saying to me, "Oh no, baby, I go to the Church of Christ. And Church of Christ members only go to Church of Christ members because even though you go to church, there's a chance that you still can go to hell because you're not going to the right church." And this is because, like I say, the vast majority of my family do go to the Church of Christ. And they believe that the only church that Jesus Christ is coming back for is the Church of Christ. So I say, well, auntie, every night I pray, every night that I pray to the same God. I pray to Jesus just like you. And you mean to tell me that you can't go to my Easter program? She said, "No, baby, I can drop you off and come get you, but I can't go in that church." And she never been in that church.
There's no denominations in the Bible. Not a one. Yeah. There's no denominations in the Bible. The denomination is just the way a group of people decide to worship and to believe and have their faith system. But what does Romans 10:9 say? To be saved, what you have to do is confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and that God, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead. That is it.
That's it.
Says anybody that calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Didn't say you got to be a Baptist or you got to be a Methodist or a Lutheran or a Kojic or any of that. That's just the way you choose to worship, to have your relationship with your God. That's it. If you have that basic tenet, those basic beliefs, you, like we say, you got fire insurance.
Pastor, I like that.
We make it more complicated than it is. God is really not that complicated.
Amen.
So, Pastor, have you ever talked to a Church of Christ member? I mean, not member, but minister.
I was Kojic. I left AME Church for a couple years and went to the Kojic Church. Love those people. Those were some, but my faith beliefs, my beliefs were just so different than them. It just wasn't where I could grow, but I loved them to death. So it was just a difference of beliefs. I just didn't believe what they believed.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Tony.
Yes.
Sorry that we got off topic a little bit. It just
we did. I'm sorry.
So what's going on, guy? You got quiet over there.
I was like, oh my goodness. Yes. We definitely got off topic, and I think we should end the show.
But it was a good topic. It was a good topic.
Yes.
It was a good show.
I just want to add two things real quick, two quick announcements to let you know that the A.T.L show, we have merchandise that is going to be on sale real soon. Legacy is wearing one of the shirts right there, so he's modeling the shirt. The A.T.L show. This is our baseball cap. And then here's our supermodel. So he's advertising. And for those of you also remember when we had Nakisha on the show, Nakisha from the Freepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she now has a website. She wanted to let everybody know she has a website now. It's called,
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so Freepreneurs website for her kids. And she has the Freepreneurs keepsake boxes for $100, and that goes towards the $100 is actually a sponsorship for a child. So when you're buying the box, the goodies, you remember the stuff that go in the box, it goes towards the child, and also sponsors the child for all of their functions and activities for the year. So whatever they do the whole year, the child gets to participate because you just sponsor the child. You can donate. There's a donate button on her website because she's a nonprofit organization. About us, there's a picture of the kids, her with all her girls, her board of directors and her staff, her chairman. So she got a lot of ladies that's supporting her. And there's all the kids. So I told her where I was, and there's a list of events that's going on for the year. So she's very active. And today actually marks the first day that they just actually put down on an office building. So they now have a dedicated office space that's the Freepreneurs home office now.
She's doing an awesome job.
Yes, she is. So
we had
don't forget, my two nieces will be there with you too, girl. Don't forget. Don't try to forget me.
Okay.
These are good people.
I also want to add that our intro video was done by Justin Brown for Just in Time. He's located out of Valdosta, Georgia. His phone number is 229-630-4816. So if you need a beat or music or whatever for an intro video or whatever, definitely reach out to him. And if you can't contact him, contact Legacy because he's related to him. So through Legacy or through Just in Time directly.
Y'all see he coming for Just in Time accessories. Y'all see that though. Y'all do see that. Just there. I'm watching you, Mr. Brown. I am watching you.
Okay. And again, mark your calendars. March the 12th, we have ex-pastor Kevin Wesley and newly convert, saved Christian Sam Selah. They'll be here to tell their story and answer any questions you guys may have. And also on the 23rd, we have TJ Lewis and Chris James. They're going to be here. And between the two of them, they've lost almost 400 pounds. And they're going to be here to tell their story and share with you how to get your body back to an alkaline state and get you healthy. And
when is that?
and cure certain elements that's in your body from a natural way of doing it. And I want to again thank TeAma and thank T Savage for bringing us the news tonight for National Women's History Month, which is the month, and their color is purple. That's why we sport the purple going on around here.
That's a pretty picture.
Thank you.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it.
And let me tell you, he was hating because we was in Paris and we left him in Florida. He was just hating.
So, if y'all have anything else to say,
A.T.L. Hope.
Pastor,
anybody but Legacy. Tonight was a good show.
Pastor, where can they find you and your church and your ministry, and if they want to join you or connect with you?
We're at the Shepherd's Heart AME Church. We're on Facebook Live. We'll be on tomorrow night for Bible study, part 2 in our Heaven and Hell Bible study series.
It was an excellent topic.
YouTube and on my website. And I did StreamYard today. I gave you a shout out.
Yay.
All right. Awesome. Anything, T Savage, anything going on with you that we need to know?
Enjoy you guys.
No, thank you guys for having me again. I really appreciate the invitation.
Thank you for coming on. TeAma Herice.
A.T.L.
No, it was fun. I had a blast.
Very enlightening, yes. Very much. On that note,
my nigga Tubo the goat, these other niggas basic.
Say what? No nigga wrist a silver chain around the neck. Say what? A.T.L show coming for their neck. Say what? We gon' say it all different from the rest. Say what? A.T.L show, know that we the best. Say what? Yeah, who was that? A.T.L show, coming live, speak about the world. Know that we is still. We got Anthony, TeAma, Legacy, the podcast. On God, we're taking over with the A.T.L show.
My nigga Tubo the goat, these other niggas basic.
Say what? No nigga wrist a silver chain around the neck. Say what? A.T.L show coming for their neck. Say what? We gon' say it all different from the rest. Say what? A.T.L show, know that we the best. Say what? Yeah, who was that? A.T.L show, coming live, speak about the world. Know that we is still. We got Anthony, TeAma, Legacy, the podcast. On God, we're taking over with the A.T.L show.